And we're back. We got another one.
Hey
But
man,
before
it's
we
just
get
me and
going,
you today, huh?
I know, just you and me.
I
So,
don't know. Is the audience ready for this?
we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out one way. I know this. Not. We're gonna try very hard for this not to be a venting session because this should be interesting today with the conversation. We're gonna get into just the conversation of realtors and realtors becoming loan officers and just kind of what is being a loan officer mean and. We're going to really get into it today and see what we can do and see if we got a solution for some people or figure it out of what's really going on. What we're going to do, I'm going to try to switch it up a little bit. I'm going to kind of break out the housekeeping notes. I'm going to do a little bit up front and then do a little bit towards the end. So just because I know audiences usually trickle in, closer to around a little bit later in the mark. So I want to make sure everyone hears about our preferred listings. But just to get going, appreciate everyone being here. Had a great conversation yesterday, episode 19 yesterday. We talked about investment properties, DSCRs, investment properties. Interest rates are really competitive right now in the marketplace. It's not like you're going comparing 6.5 on a primary to 9%. They're definitely very competitive. Obviously, you have to have the equity. Thought that was some great information. Thank you to Brandon Harrington. He's one of our lenders that we work with. So he provided good insight. And I learned a new term, Vince. I learned the
Yeah,
short term.
I saw that on your little reel yesterday. You sent me last night at 10 o'clock at night. May I remind you? So yeah, I mean, obviously, go ahead and get into that. But I mean, I learned something too yesterday in terms of the commercial. I mean, and I'll be the first to admit it's not something I really look at all the time. But the whole set 30% rule of down payment.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, obviously, when you're looking to buy an investment property, and you're saying, well, what is my strategy? Am I going to do a buy and hold situation? Okay, I want to do a buy and hold. Okay, now how do I want to handle the buy and hold? And so now there's really three different ways you can do it. You can offer a buy and hold situation where it's saying, hey, I'm going to invest in this property. I got this single family residence. I could probably get, let's just say, $2,000 a month in rent, or I can look at potentially a midterm and a short-term rental option. And I never heard the midterm, so that was kind of new to me. Where they were talking about midterm, as potential travel nurses is a huge example. We're seeing a lot of maybe a professor. I was thinking of like what are some other midterm job types that may come by, maybe like a insurance claim, if there's like a big insurance claim per se. I know they travel a lot. But they might be looking for longer than just a week. They may need a month, 2 months, 3 months minimum. That might be a situation where you lock in for a certain time frame. So short term, midterm, and now long term hold is an option. And I learned that in episode 19. So audience, if you didn't get a chance to listen to us, and it was me, Vince, and Brandon yesterday, definitely check that out. It was good information. That's going to be, you can find the previous show on our YouTube channel, Epic Spotlight, and then just go to the live section and you can check out episode 19 because that was good information.
It was.
What'd you learn?
I learned that, like I said, I learned that piece of the down payment from Brandon. And like I said, I'd be the first to admit, I don't know too much on the commercial stuff or the rehabs, and that I always stayed away from it. But the last two episodes, we've kind of touched on some of those things. So picked up a couple pointers.
We did. Also, too, if you are in need of a blueprint, if you're out there saying, "Hey, I just want to get pre-approved," what has changed? This is my first time. I haven't really been looking per se. We definitely want to recommend the Ultimate Mortgage Guide. That's live and available on Amazon.com. Check it out. Basically, I've been in the business for over 20 years, so 2 decades. And I just kind of poured into a book that I figured, why am I getting the same questions asked, in 2002, and I'm still getting them asked in 2025? So I figured, hey, let me write a book. Let me help people understand these are things that you should know. Unfortunately, our school systems let us down about life. They can teach us about Odysseus and the Odyssey, but they don't want to teach us about how to fax paper, how to upload documents, how to live life. How
Read
to
a balance sheet, know what a P&L is.
yes,
Right?
yes. Yes, how to obtain a mortgage. You know, there's no class at the junior college level that teaches that. And until they do, my book is 100% relevant and necessary. So definitely check it out. Ultimate Mortgage Guide. It's available on Amazon. I'm going to be speaking live. So some people, they want to see me. They want to say, okay, I want to meet them. Is this AI? Is this some AI conversation that's going on? No, it's two real loan officers doing what we do. Um, I am going to be speaking live at April Prayers Legal Solutions has a home buyers brunch. Want to buy a house? It's going to be at the Morgan Park United Methodist Church on September 14th at 1 p.m. Central Time. That's at 11030 South Longwood Drive, Chicago, Illinois. So I will be there spreading the word about, hey, if you want to buy a house, just answering questions and giving the information out. So I will be live on a Sunday at 1. So I'm now I did look up because people know I'm a Bears fan. And I was like, hey, but
Well,
at about
you,
3 o'clock.
you already touched on it. So the 14th of September, there's no Bears game.
There is a Bears game.
There is a Bears game. I'm sorry.
3
And there is
o'clock.
no epic lunch and learn that day, which I was thinking about. I was going to get a day off and we weren't going to go 4 days out of the week. But look at you working on a Sunday. So all good, man.
All good.
Maybe you can go live on your presentation.
That would be something. I probably need a little assistance, so we'll see if someone wants to come with me on that. And then obviously after we're done with this conversation today, if you want, a recommendation, definitely check out the most recent Epic Spotlight interview, and that's Olivia White. She's a seasoned realtor based out of Aurora, Illinois. Her story is a masterclass in professionalism and how to take care of clients. Had a nice conversation with her. Definitely would recommend that you check it out after the show. But for right now, Vince, let's get into it. You gave me an article, so let's kick it off. I'll let you kind of enroll.
I did. So we kind of going to talk a little bit today of the old routine of as loan officers. We always would say this: realtors stay in your lane, we'll stay in our lane, right? In today's world, those lanes are combining and they're shifting and they're changing based on technology, mergers, acquisitions, and with less and less transactions out there, it's become more and more common that real estate agents also become licensed loan officers. And so I wanted to bring this out to the audience and get their opinion, the dislikes, the likes, how this works, what that transition looks like, and just really have an open conversation as to how you feel about that on the industry side from a salesperson, from a commission standpoint, from a client service standpoint, and just kind of roll from there. I know my little flyer I sent you shows that 32% increase in this dual agency or dual role. And at the end of the day, consumers, I think, like it because of the ease of convenience as it's one person. But we'll kind of roll with that from there and kind of have you throw a couple points in. And you know me, there is an outline there. I did it. But I stole it from someone else. So let's be honest. And the reason, part of the reason why me and Dante did this in the beginning when I proposed this to him about doing this type of deal is we wanted to get in front of consumers earlier in the process of their buying process and educating. Well, we're giving that education out in terms of the real estate agents, loan officers, and vendors, but it's all part of the process in today's technology world of I want the information, I want it now. And this is just one of the thought processes I wanted to kind of talk about.
I appreciate this is good stuff. I mean, obviously, I just both you and I have put so much time and effort into this business. I mean, literally blood, sweat, and tears. I've been the loan officer that has been at the office at 1 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock midnight, making sure things were ready to go, packages were done. So I feel like I'm a part of this industry. And I just don't want any, person coming in here thinking they could be a loan officer. I think there's a level of, respect that I want them to carry. Like a loan officer is just not just anyone could be a loan officer. You got to put the time and effort in. And so a little bit, to start off with, I got pushback, but it makes sense that, let's unpack it this way. Let's say it this way. Why are realtors wanting to become loan officers? I have an idea. I think one of the reasons why realtors want to be loan officers is because they're not making as much money as being a realtor.
Yeah, I would agree with that, right? I mean, at the end of the day, there's less activity, less transactions,
Correct.
right? Or let me put it this way: real estate agents is super local. Where
You're
in Epic, as an example, you're licensed in what? Virginia, Colorado, Indiana, Maryland, Michigan, Texas, Florida, Colorado, right? And
correct.
I might have missed one.
Yep.
But that's 11 states to potentially gain business to.
Correct.
Where a real estate agent is, let's say, they're covered to 3 counties within each other. And for us in Illinois, Cook, DuPage, and Will. Right? That's your circus. That's your area, or let me use the real estate firm. That's your farm. You can't go outside of that. You can, but it doesn't make sense financially. Or you get agents that push back. Why are you here in this area trying to sell a house? This isn't in your area, or blah, blah, blah. So I always look at it, and I've always looked at it in my loan businesses. I want the client for life, and I want to be able to handle everything that the client may need. So that was kind of where I go on that.
Yeah, it's. I was trying to compare it to sports, and and I know you're a big football guy like me. So I look at it like Terry Bradshaw and Troy Aikman, right? If you look at their stats as quarterbacks, and you compare them to today's stats, they would be annihilated. They'd be looking like they were like bums, like,
Sure.
bench players, even though they're viewed historically, they're Hall of Famers,
Right.
and they won titles and stuff like that. So the game got changed, right? In the NFL, the game got changed, and quarterbacks numbers now are very gaudy compared to what they used to be. And I guess hopefully it's not a weak analogy, but the game got changed in real estate, and I don't know when it happened, but to some degree, the general contractor, the one that should be, the first step in the process should be getting pre-approved for a mortgage.
Yes.
Period.
Right.
You don't know what you qualify for. You may think you do, but you don't 100% know. You should be vetted by a loan officer. Now we can get into it, and this is another topic on who should I go to? Should I go to a broker? Should I go to a bank? That's a separate topic for a separate day. But ultimately, the first step that you should do is get pre-approved for a mortgage, and that's really through Epic Mortgage, right? That's through us, us being loan officers.
Right.
And so, as a loan officer, we get you pre-approved for a mortgage. We're going to ask you, not only are we going to find out name, date of birth, social, how much money do you make, where you work, all that stuff, and figure out, how much you qualify for. We should also know, to some degree, hey, where do you want to buy? Because where you want to buy is going to affect your mortgage payment, how much your real estate taxes are going to be, how much is your insurance. I always talk about it like, hey, do you want to buy a multi-unit family or do you want to buy a single family? Well, why are you asking? Well, that makes a difference. That may double how much your insurance costs. Hey, you
Correct.
want to buy a condo? Now I got association dues I have to worry
Yep.
about. All these things matter. And so when you tell me all these things, you give me this description, this picture that you're looking for. I may know a realtor in that area. No disrespect to realtors. I love realtors. I work with realtors so I always want to be very careful on this. I don't want them to get mad at me. But
Correct. We're not trying to bust. We're just
no,
trying to bring it along. That's
we're,
all.
but I can help that buyer and refer them to realtors that focus on that area. Because sometimes if you go to a realtor, and it happens when you go to a loan officer, I do it everything. I do it all. Everyone wants to be the one stop. I can do it all. And so, but that's not true. Like, you live in Evanston, you're not really driving 45 minutes to South Holland. You really don't know what's going on in South Holland. I've always preferred a local realtor for me and my purchase endeavors. I want to know about what church. And oh, this is Susie and she does the bakery stuff. Oh, she's nice. Oh, Don, he's a little crazy, but don't mind him. He means nothing. I want to know that inside information when I'm going to invest my money. My family is going to be there. You can't get that from a person that lives 45 an hour away. He or she just doesn't know the climate like that. And we have these, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely right. I mean, all being said that, right? as I said, it's local. Well, that agent knows the local area
Correct.
in the areas that they sell in. So, I mean, there's always truth to that, right? You know, you can get involved in the community. You're involved in the church. Here's the so and so. She works for the PTA. All those things all come into each other, right? Because that's the whole point of home ownership, is an environment that you want to raise your kids and your family in as well.
Correct. And so for me, I always preferred a local agent. I want to work with a local realtor in there. Now, somehow, some way, the game got changed. Whether that's lobbyists, for the real estate, association, whether that's just more marketing dollars were pushed heavy. That the sexy thing that everyone cares about when it comes to real estate are the properties, and the realtors have the keys. They have the keys to those properties. And
Yeah.
so somehow the shift happened in our industry where buyers went to the realtor first, and then we became, if they're the general contractor, then we became Joe the plumber. We're a plumber, we're an electrician, we're the HVAC guy, we're on their team. And, in real estate, we believe more in polygamy than, a monogamous relationship. So we work with multiple realtors because we have to be on their team, because consumers have, clamored to them first, and hopefully, even with conversations like this, we can start bucking that trend. Consumers need to come to loan officers first, get pre-approved for a mortgage. Let us help you, get someone within that realm. Someone, if you tell me, I mean, and this is no disrespect to realtors. Some realtors don't focus on investment properties, just like some loan officers don't focus on investment properties. You told me, hey, I don't really focus
First
on it.
admitted, right? Not my area,
Yeah.
not my strength. Here's the reason. I even stated the reasons why yesterday,
Correct.
right?
Correct. And so there's realtors. I know I could list realtors. I don't really. So if they don't know what a fix and flip is, if they don't know what a good opportunity is, why are you even working with them? They're only going to slow you down. We get into this. There is, and I know it's tough, and I know it's tough from a consumer perspective, because it's about relationships. Oh, well, she goes to my church. She's my sister's friend. But, and not to say all part-time, but, it is a difference with someone full-time does this every day versus someone that can only do it in little blocks and windows. If that block and window works for you, kudos. But, the expertise, can they, how to get things done when stuff comes awry, when the deal's not as super clean, do they have the experience and the knowledge? Do they have a team to support them? So and that's some of my rant that I want to get off my chest.
Yeah, it's all good. You've been going for the last 3 minutes. Let's redirect you a little bit on that one. But to me, I mean, I started off in this business dialing for dollars, and what that basically means is targeting refinance clients based on getting lower my bills leads and internet leads, and things are evolving now where real estate firms are now pairing in with loan officers, and they want to turn around and make this just transactional. Real estate will never be transactional. It'll always be local. You'll always need some form of an advisor or an expert in the industry. The transactions are going to become less and less, which makes why I think some realtors are leaning towards doing both roles.
It's also because of, a little bit of you have bad experiences, right? We all have bad experiences, right? You work with the loan officer and he's a goofball. You work with the realtor, she's a goofball. She didn't know what she was doing. She didn't advocate for the client. Like, we all have our perceptions, and our perceptions become our reality of how a deal should close. We know the finish line. We know I got to get you from point A to point Z. But, how I get you from point A to point Z is always, to each his own. The style that Vince does might be different from the style that Dante does, maybe the style different from what Brad does, and so on and so on. So we all have our perceptions like, oh, they should have done this. They didn't do this for you. Wow, they didn't do this. They didn't think about this. And sometimes there's a level of expertise. I'll give you something. Realtor has a friend. This just happened this morning. Realtor has a friend in Georgia, and she's getting a divorce. And so she went to him as your point, right? I'm going to go to my team. I'm going to go to my realtor friend. Hey, because I have a real estate need. And the realtor refers her to a local loan officer, and says, oh, you know what? It sounds like you probably might need to restructure your debt, which is AKA a refinance. Why don't you go to this local loan officer and she'll take care of you? After 30 days, it's been mute, no response. No response. Now, a couple things go by. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to us. You know that we are straight commission. We have to close the deal to make money. If
Yep.
that deal could close, if it was simple, trust and believe she would have closed that deal. But it's not simple. It was a little complex what she was saying. It takes a little bit more expertise. I knew what, when I heard her, I quickly knew how to flip it and make it a deal. But I could see the struggle that she had. She needed, cash out refinance, doesn't make enough money, high 500 credit score. Oh man, I
Sure.
gotta go FHA, but she doesn't make enough money. She's got too low of a score, so I can't do, a CDFI program. Man, but I knew a way to get that deal done.
But I have
There's
an option for it, right? I
option.
have a way to go, right? I mean, it's like making pizza. I got to massage the dough,
Correct.
right? I
Correct.
know how to make that happen. Where the person wants silence because they took the phone call and didn't have an option
Correct.
and didn't know how to explain it to that person as to what they need to do.
Correct.
And that's the difference between just being a loan officer and being an advisor.
Correct. And what the difference is, sometimes realtors, and this is why I want to be the point lead versus waiting on the realtor to refer me. Sometimes these realtors don't know the difference between a bank, a broker, a mortgage banker. So they think we're all the same. Oh, every loan officer is the same, right? So if Dante could do it, Chuck could do it. No. No.
Yeah. I mean,
That's what. Go
another
ahead.
thing that makes me a little different, like I said, I started off doing dollar for dollars internet leads. Well, if you know anything about internet leads, they turn into a quote contest.
Correct.
Right? The first person gets compared to the second person gets compared to the third, and eventually you have the consumer believing what they're hearing and they don't have the answers to it. I would tell people straight out, you're never going to get that rate. Well, why won't I get that rate, Vince? Well, here you go. Here's a website that shows what the average rate is. Why do you think you're getting something so much better than everybody else? I'm not saying you can't get a good deal, but if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And to me, some of those clients I would just turn off and move on to the next person. Those are the people I'm not responding to, right? Because I'm not here to do a quote contest. I'm here to help you with your finances or get you approved for the end result of buying a home.
Well, don't forget your underwriting, right? I mean, underwriting's in your background too.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, I've done operationals before I got into
Sure.
sales, right? That was my way of learning the business. And I know we're getting a little bit off topic on that, but the point here is that the way marketing is today, I always feel that the consumer needs to get involved. The process needs to start earlier in the home buying process, meaning from the financing side, and the real estate agent needs to work with those lenders at the start of the process, not at the 45-day mark with only 30 days left to go.
Yeah, no, I agree. And really the process starts with Epic Lunch and Learn, right? The process starts with listening to programs like this that are talking about real estate and mortgages, getting you acclimated to, DTI. What is that? LTV. What is that? Understanding the different products. So you have a better idea when you go in there. I mean, because it's always if you're out there, here's another analogy. I used to always be fearful when I'd have to get a oil change, right? My mom would tell me, "Hey, take the car and get an oil change," right? So I go to Jiffy Lube, and if you've been to Jiffy Lube, you sit there, and then they say, "Dante, can I talk to you for a second?" And you're like, "Oh, geez,
I need wipers. You need this. You need
yes.
that.
Hey, you need this, you need that," and I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. I had
Yeah,
no clue what he was saying. And but I knew if oh yeah, okay, yeah, you think okay, yeah, I guess if you see it, like, because all I want the car to do is move from A to B, and I don't
yeah,
want any issues. So I'm just
correct.
sure. Oh, so a $10 Jiffy Lube oil change turns into $268, and I'm there for, a 10-minute quickie ends up being an hour.
Yep.
So because you don't know. And so the first step is to listen to programs before you're even trying to buy. The second step is I recommend that you get pre-approved for a mortgage first. We can help you we can help select a realtor for you. We can help you. The thing is, I get it. There's a control issue. Really, to me, Vince, it's I want to control everything. I want to be the
Sure.
realtor. I want to be the loan officer. I want to be everything. But you can't be the best at everything if you're doing everything. You just can't. Right there.
I mean, that's correct, right? I mean, you can get a little bit of it, or you can stay involved in a piece of it. You can educate yourself on it, but trying to accomplish both roles and doing it both efficiently is very difficult.
Yeah.
Especially if you're new to the business on the loan side, you don't know the rules and the regulations of how these programs and things work. I mean, the greatest thing about social media and things we do here, you're already building trust with the consumer by doing shows like this or having them listen to us. That we repeat the same things, but then when you put what you hear in actual service, you see kind of how things kind of fall through not necessarily the cracks, but how the process works.
Exactly.
And that's really what it comes down to. It's just a process.
I mean, to your point, 32% of realtors are becoming loan officers, right? 32% already. What I have seen, the successful ones have started off as a loan officer first. Then they made the transition to realtor. They understand the rules and regs. They know the grind on this side. Then they move to a realtor. And hey, you can definitely call me, text me, DM me, and tell me I'm wrong. I haven't seen so many successful realtors start off as a realtor and then transition to the loan officer. They struggle. They definitely struggle. So that's the difference. That is the difference right there. So yeah, no, I think to your point, consumers. This is a tough part for consumers. I mean, we've talked about this in other shows. There's about it's in the state of Illinois. Let's just talk Illinois. There's 10 people in the transaction.
Right.
In every transaction, there's 10 people. So if you can reduce the amount of people, that is a benefit. So if I was flipping the script and playing devil's advocate, that's the benefit for a consumer. We've reduced. Hey, great news! We went from 10 to 9. We eliminated the loan officer because I'm the loan officer.
Right. The communication and the tools and the technology to kind of consolidate the in-betweens of everyone you have to go to. That's a step in the right direction. That improves the process for everybody.
Correct.
Right? But, I mean, at the end of the day, everybody has their book of business, which is your client. And the more that you kind of can keep in touch with them, or you have the partnerships with the right other referral partners, whether that's your lender, your home inspector, or whichever, together, you got to stay in front of your clients even more today than it would be tomorrow because of what technology is doing. It's making it so easy that it's a point and click perception. That's all it takes to buy a house.
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm sure we'll get deeper into technology. One of these days, you and I will just have a whole show on technology. But I mean, truth be told, I mean, we already have AI doing underwriting. Ladies and gentlemen, let me say that again. We already have AI doing underwriting. We have at least 3 approved loans in our pipeline right now that AI did it. There's no human being that did the underwriting. Now, one of them was wrong, actually, so that is kind of an issue. They better do some management on that. But
you were digging into all regs to try and tell AI it was wrong.
Come on, AI. Hey, I know it looks the same, but it isn't. They made a mistake on. There was 2 auto loans. It's a mom and a daughter, and they're buying a property, and they have the same auto loan. It appeared to be the same, but it's actually 2 different ones, and it misread it. It misread it.
Gotcha.
Different account numbers. But so I mean, that's eliminating the underwriter. So I mean, when we start, so let's go over the 10. For people in Illinois, and really any litigious states. So Massachusetts, I believe, New York, New Jersey. 10 transactions. So you have the buyer and seller. That's 1 and 2. You have the listing agent and the buying agent. That's 3 and 4. You have the 2 attorneys, right? Buying attorney, and then seller attorney. So that's at 6. Now you have a underwriter. That's 7. You got the funder. That's 8. You got the closer at the title company, and then really a doc prep person.
And don't forget the assistant potentially for the real estate agent.
There you go, the transaction coordinator. So I mean, and it's tough on a consumer, right? I feel for you because you don't know these people. It's not like you just hang out with these people. So we randomly are coming into your life, and we're just like, we come into your life, and we're gonna, hey, we're setting up shop, and we're gonna be here for the next 21 to 45 days.
And that's exactly right. On the loan side, right? 30
Correct.
days, we want to be done, right?
Correct.
So you're coming in at the, maybe 45, maybe 50, but that's the whole point of why we do shows like this, is to bring the consumer to the process earlier in terms of the education. I know We're playing around today and we're kind of free flowing. I know we're at the 30-minute marker. I'm sure we got a couple questions. Let's maybe start with some of that.
Yeah, definitely. Amazing topic today. How can new agents get started as MLOs? You want to tackle that?
Yeah, sure. So the first requirement is go to the NMLS, and that's NMLS. It changes, but just go National Mortgage Licensing Services. In order to become an MLO, which is mortgage loan originator, as a broker, you have to do 20 hours of pre-licensing education, and then there is also state potential education to be done. If you go work for a bank who's federally chartered, you can avoid the education and licensing requirements. But on the average, it'll cost you about $400 or $500 per state to become a licensed loan officer. That's a very brief step to it. Also, some brokerage firms or some organizations, companies, won't allow you to be a realtor and an LO. So keep that in mind as well.
And I'm not, and hopefully, I don't want anyone to have negativity on the conversation today. I'm not ragging on realtors. I love realtors. Realtors send me business and I close it for them. I just think, I take pride in what I do on a day in, day out basis. And I just don't think this is just not a paycheck over here. You have to put some time and effort to really know what the rules are. I always say this when loan officers, hey, why am I not successful, as a loan officer? And I'll say, well, the first thing is, did you put the time in?
Sure.
You're gonna have to put the time in, 8 to 12 hours a day. Are you willing to be committed to putting the time in? And sometimes, I'll stop, say it's hard for a realtor to put that time in if they're out there showing homes, doing what they do best.
Right. I mean, and it comes down to, right, like you said earlier, my background was in operations and underwriting first. I went into sales by default, but there's a whole other side of being a loan officer that's so much beyond just getting the client. You have to know how to put the deal together and
Correct.
give the right option. And that comes with doing business and writing loans and a background of doing that, as opposed to just being the salesperson.
The number 2 reason why people fail in my line of work is they don't know the products. And I just gave you the example down in Georgia where a lady was handed a deal that, obviously should have closed, could have closed, but she either A, didn't have the product line because she might not be a broker, she might not know the products, but she didn't understand what was the best way to get this deal done. She was, quickly thought one direction and then, ran into a brick and was like, whoa, this is not gonna work. And then unfortunately, just bad customer service. She didn't even call the person. She just ghosted her and hoped that, well, hopefully she'll find something else and maybe she'll just stop calling me. Let me just stay quiet for a couple months and then I'll come back and try to retarget that realtor again.
Correct.
I don't, and it's like, that's just not good business. Ariel writes, do you think dual licensing will become the new standard in real estate? Yes.
I would totally agree with that, especially with and granted, right, Compass and Redfin becoming one and the other, right? Like everybody, I'm sorry, not Compass, Quicken and Redfin becoming interlinked to each other. You're creating this environment of a one-stop shop. And that could potentially turn into more people becoming licensed in both.
I mean, state of California already has a loan officer is licensed to be a realtor as well, right? You have to have both designations on
Correct.
the
The
license.
license does the same. I think they changed some of their stuff. I have a California origination license. It's just not sponsored. But yes, there's a DRE and then there's two different licenses.
Got
They
it.
consolidated some of it, but yes, one of the licenses gives you the authority to do both.
Correct. So I mean, so it's not a bad situation. More education is never bad. I never got my real estate license. And I normally say this. I say I never got my real estate license because I want to be the best loan officer I can be. I didn't want to feel. I didn't want any realtor to find out that I had a license and feel intimidated. Oh, now he's going to take my client away from me. Oh, what is this? So I've always just stayed away and said, hey, I'm just a loan officer. That's what I do best. That's the lane I'm going to be in. I'll help you. I'll make you look good. But I think and also too with the pandemic, I just look at my kids growing up. They're so kind of antisocial.
Yeah.
They're not really engaging and having these conversations. Everyone's on their phones. No one ever talks to anybody. So I think more and more you'll just, yeah, it makes more sense. Let me just be the realtor. I'll show a home. I just say this: the deal better be easy, because man, if it's complicated, boy, they won't know what to say to each other.
Yeah.
What's the biggest mistake agents make when trying to add MLO? I got an answer for this, but let you go first.
To me, I was just gonna add thinking they can handle it all, both sides, knowing everything about the financing piece. That actually, it's just obtaining financing. How hard can it be?
Yeah, it's a different animal, and me and Vince actually, we talked about our, some business plans that we have, as far as business developers. I think might be a good platform to even speak on that. It's just
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely talk a little bit to that. I mean, that's part of what it goes, right? At the end of
correct.
the day, like I said, you got licenses in 11 states, right? I mean, you're not physically going to be able to get to all of those realtors out there because it's just impossible to do it physically. But
Correct.
because of technology, you can. But doing it more of what we call AEs, which are our salespeople that we relate to, is almost taking that same role to a real estate agent, which is just finding places to facilitate the loans and placing it internally.
Yeah, so if you're a realtor out there looking to become a loan officer, we are open for that conversation. We look at it as more as a business developer. We have a team here. I know you just see me and Vince here, but we have a team. We have an operations side. Lisa, Sylvia, Adrena, Dave. They do a phenomenal job in processing these files. It makes we really have taken a lot off the plate as best we can for people that are dual. I have this job, I have that job, and I'm still trying to do this. We understand the natures that have required people to try to make two checks instead of one, and that's the whole premise of today's call. How can I make two commission checks instead of one? So we understand the concepts. I just I look at it as more as a business developer. I mean, it's still a licensed loan officer at the end of the day. And we definitely would be willing to have that conversation with you. So if you are interested, Vince, why don't you give your information out?
So my phone number is 708-359-8578. And my Epic email is vince@epic.mortgage.
Yeah, and if you want to reach me, I'm at 708-905-5300, 708-905-5300. Your dreams, your goals, let's plan together. And you can reach me at Dante@epic.mortgage. But yeah, if you're a realtor out there or a loan officer, I got a call Friday at 4. With a potential loan officer, so people are wanting to have conversations. We're open to having them. If you want to be a full-time 100% loan officer like myself, I'm going to do my best to try to duplicate myself and help you grow. But if you want to be just more of a business developer, hey, I don't want to know all that stuff. I don't have time for that. We have opportunities and ways where it can still work out for you. Because, to each his own, the game has changed and we got to deal with it. People go to realtors first. I mean, 48% of people will go with whoever the realtor tells them to go to. And that's just the way it is. Until those numbers change, I respect the game and I got to play the game to where it is. So realtors, if you are needing and looking to become a loan officer, definitely give us a call. Next one up, Branson. How do clients usually react when the agent is also their lender?
So let's be real clear on that. one, you have to disclose both roles.
Correct.
And so the consumer is going to have their own reaction to that. Some may like it, some may not. And the reason I say some may not like it is because someone may come in and tell them on the side, oh, so-and-so's being your realtor and your loan officer. How do you know you're getting the best deal? So it's a consumer comfort level.
No, I agree.
And,
yeah.
And the realtors, you're mostly on a referral basis. Somehow they're connected to you. So somewhere along the line, the trust is already there.
Yeah, I mean, I think for some consumers, it's probably a moment of relief. Great, I don't have to talk to anybody else. I can just talk to you. Okay, we love you anyway, so great. I'll just give you all my stuff. Um, Sometimes, maybe it is that secondary person that's that puts that seed in your head of possibly are you getting the best deal because they're doing everything for you. I don't think that's a natural idea that pops in the consumer's head per se because they don't know how the process works. We already started talking about the education system has failed us in this regard of how to buy a house, how to live life. So you don't really know what you don't know. So if the realtor, is the loan officer, you might be like, okay, great. All right. Well, yeah, we'll just send you everything and then you'll just do the loan. It's not until, the road gets rocky or something happens and that realtor loan officer are like, I don't know what to do. And that's when, maybe a manager or somebody else has to step in. But I don't think it's really, I can't see too many times that a client's like, oh, well, why are you doing that? I'd like to have my own other option. I mean, I
Right.
think we're the necessary evil. And that's just the reality that I've learned over 20 years.
Sure. Right. And I mean, the other thing too to that, you got to deliver bad news on both sides if it happens.
Facts.
Right. So let's hit the next question.
Chris, what's the average cost to get an MLO license? I think you already said that, about 400, you said?
Yeah, let's call 400 to 500 between licensing fees and education requirement per
Nice.
state.
Yeah, state, and then yeah, you have to, if so,
And
we have. Go ahead.
it's different than real estate renewals. Loan officers got to renew their license every year per state. With real estate, I think you guys are 2 years out.
Every 2 years, yeah. I don't know. I know it's time for me to start doing my CE stuff.
Yeah,
That's the
right.
only bad side.
Yeah, no kidding. You got 11 licenses you got to hold every year.
Yes, 9, but it's okay.
9. Okay.
Close enough.
I got 5, so I feel some of your pain.
Yes. Jeff says, which skill is more important to master for sales or lending? If you're saying sales is real estate, I'll just say lending is, to me, if I were, brand new, hey, learn the lending, learn how it is to get it clear to close, learn locking in rates, expiration dates, income, we're reviewing credit, income, and assets. That's the first thing. Once you understand that and that concept, I'm not going to say being a realtor is easy, but you will have a much easier chance. Actually, case in point, there's a realtor out there right now who's having some great success, and he used to be a loan officer.
Yeah.
So now,
I mean,
you know what I mean? He used to be a loan officer. Now he's a realtor, and he found his niche. Now, I won't say he was bad loan officer, but I'll just say he's not as good as he is now.
yeah, I
Now,
mean,
you know what I mean?
my background came from learn operations before learning sales. Whichever way you want to do that, even if you want to be a real estate agent, there's still operations involved in being a real estate agent. If you're new to the business, that is the better way of learning how to do this business, in my opinion.
All right, this is John the Bomb.
Hey,
Vincent.
We got a nickname going on here, huh?
Yeah, what the dynamic duo. Dante, you've been such a resource for me and people I know for many, many years. Great stream, fellas. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. John's a great guy. He's in business banking. I'd love to get John on the show and talk about some business banking. He made the move to Busey Bank.
Great.
So, appreciate it, John.
John, you're coming on the show at some point in time.
Yeah, just tell me the date, Monday through Thursday, 12 to 1 o'clock Central Time. Would love to get the lunch and learn and see what Busey Bank has to offer clients. All right, next one. Do MLOs face higher liability when also acting as agents?
I would say no to that because we don't carry E&O insurance other than the state of Colorado for individuals. So everything's blanketed under your brokerage firm.
Hmm. I learned something new today. All right, I'll go to the next one. Are teams adopting this strategy faster than solo agents? That's a good question.
I'm going to defer that one to you first, and then I'll respond.
Teams. So teams would be like a Caldwell Banker. I would say, yeah, teams. Just from a business owner perspective, they see the one stop shop. They want to kind of control. This is really a control thing to some degree, right? We are trying to provide an experience for the consumer, an experience that they feel that they'll want to come back and refer their friends and family and neighbors to. So so let's just stop and say our goal is to do the deal and get the deal done. But our second goal is to make sure that it was an experience worth doing again. And so, as an owner, as a business owner, we see that and say, okay, how can we make this better? Where were the drop off points? Was it the title company? Was it the lender? Was it the realtor? Can we keep everything in house and have a better control so the consumer gets that great experience and wants to continue to keep telling friends, family, and neighbors? So we see that to some degree, like Caldwell Banker. Caldwell Banker in Illinois has a title company, and then they partner with a mortgage company, and so they have their skin in the game in three different facets to try to control the temperature of just what expectation you're going to have along the way.
I just want to add to one thing. To me, there is no business without consumers for anyone in sales, right? And especially in mortgage. But the realtor is the client in my world, and the buyer is my customer. And the reason being is I want the experience to be good for everybody, but I want the repeat business from the realtor as well as the consumer, but that we're going to get more repeat business from the realtor than we are from the consumer.
Correct. I mean, that is kind of a weird idea, but I mean, it's true. The realtor, if they're doing the work and building their business, they will refer more deals than a consumer can do. Because if a consumer can refer that much, then they might as well go get their mortgage license or their real estate license.
Correct.
But most consumers might be able to refer 3, maybe 5 in a lifetime. It's just because eventually it becomes out of sight, out of mind.
And that's the thing too. A lot of things people don't talk about finances as much as they used to, maybe around the coffee table or whatever. Everybody's more personal. I don't want to get into that.
Right. Another question from Justina. And once again, I appreciate all these questions that you guys are sending out. If you have questions, comments, please put it in the chat. Right there, put it in the comments. Let us know so we can answer them. That's the best way. And if you're liking this content, if you're liking what we're doing and saying, please, I would, encourage you to subscribe to the YouTube channel for sure. That's Epic Spotlight. And make sure you give it a like, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on LinkedIn or YouTube. Give this a like. That lets us know that this is type of information that you want us to continue to talk about. Obviously our time frames are only 1 hour a day. So, but we can bring this topic back, down the road. So please give us a like. Let us know. That's going to be the way you can inform us that you're enjoying these topics by giving us a like, whether you're on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube. Give us a like. And then that way I know, hey, let's bring back that conversation because people were getting some stuff out of it. So Justina writes, what advice would you give to someone considering this move today?
So we're talking about doing both roles, I'm assuming.
Correct.
Right. So, I mean, the first thing you would want to confirm it with your current employer or whichever side you're on that they would allow it. And then would be to complete the education and then start making your decision as to how you plan on implementing it. Because it's not easy.
Yeah, I think I sit here right now and I was thinking like, what do I want people to take away from this call? I just I'm serious about what I do, and I just want you to be serious about jumping over here. If you're just looking for a money grab, I wouldn't do it. The heartache, when you have to call the person, tell them they don't qualify, or that you overlooked something, the heartache that you have to deal with over here it's not easy, and no matter if we make it look easy or you think it is, it's not. You're dealing with real people situation. I always kind of compare it to, we're financial pilots,
Right.
right? So if I go to John and I say, hey, John, I've only crashed 5 planes this year, but I'm a really good pilot. You're not going to feel comfortable want to go on that plane with me. you know
Yeah. Yep.
so as a financial pilot, I have to, I got to be dialed in every time, every customer, every consumer. I got to make sure that pre-approval is as good as gold. That's why we issue out the golden certificate, because it's as good as gold. When I've done it, I've done the research, I made sure, because screw ups are really not tolerated. So, if you're serious about making this move, to be in dual ship, just make sure it's not about a money grab. It's more to do with the experience for your client and your customer, but you're ready and willing and able to put the time in. Like I said, the second reason why people fail as being a loan officer is they don't know the knowledge. But the first reason why people fail as a loan officer, they don't put the time in. And I
Sure.
see it all the time. I see it all the time. So, I think that's important. But I wanted to take time right now. Let's do these preferred listings. This is perfect
Sure.
timing, right?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, we're at the 50-minute marker. We're here for an hour. Kick off your preferred listings. Tell us if we got a new one or what. What do we got?
We got 2436 Planters Mill Way. That's in Conyers, Georgia. It's going for $399. It's a 4-bed, 2.5 bath. Contact Angela Pinnell, 404-425-4660. If you're in Georgia, check it out. We have 1100 South 3rd Avenue, Maywood, Illinois. This was a price drop. We have it down at $375. It's a 5-bed, 2-bath. Seller is highly motivated and seller credits are available. Contact Tamika Bishop, 630-479-6352. We have, we have 8228 South LaSalle, Chicago, Illinois, going for $250. It's a 3-bed, 1-bath. Contact Amico Pope, 808-428-3770. We have some commercial properties as well. As you guys know, we do commercial lending. We have a commercial storage at 1413 East End, Chicago Heights, going for $165. Contact Amico Pope, 808-428-3770. We have a commercial location. It used to be a former Burger King. It was a title company. It's 1645 Western Avenue, Chicago Heights, going for $339. Contact Keith Terry, 773-655-1360. My client has a house that he's looking to sell. It's 14327 Lincoln Avenue, Dalton, Illinois. It's going for $225. It's a good deal. 3-bed, 2-bath. Contact Evelyn Woods, 773-718-9742. We have some condos. 548 East 50th Street, Unit 3, Chicago, Illinois. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath. Contact Jessica Roberson, 708-722-5106. Another condo, 6945 South Dorchester, Unit 2S in Chicago. Contact Evelyn Woods, 773-718-9742. We also have 9049 South Parnell Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, going for $279,980. Contact Sebastian Kupiec, 773-430-8988. And last but not least, we have a renovation project on the market. Check it out. 7723 South Honorary Street, Chicago, Illinois. Brittany Davis. Contact Brittany Davis, 773-971-8714. So those are our preferred listings. They're available on www.danteroyster.com. So if you go to danteroyster.com, you'll have an opportunity to check out all those preferred listings. They're available there.
Now I get to tell them the exciting news?
Yeah. I think it's time, right?
Yeah, I think we're getting there. So, I mean, obviously, like we said in the beginning, we did this to bring awareness to what we know, bring it out there in public, use this as a tool for your consumers, for your potential buyers. But we're going to enter into the fourth quarter. It's the end of the year, basically. And I got Dante's approval on this for new realtors that we don't have a relationship with yet, in order to try and understand what we do at Epic and how we make these deals work for everybody. We're going to give a seller concession for loans with an application date up until the end of November for loans of $200,000 or from $200,000 to $299,000, we're doing $1,000 credit as a seller credit or a lender credit. At $300,000 to $400,000, we're doing a $1,500 credit, and for loans at $400,000 and above, we're giving back a concession of $2,000. This is through the end of the year for new business, new realtor business.
OMG. Right time for Christmas. We're hooking people up. We're going to play Santa and give some credits and help people get to the closing table.
Yep. We want to finish the year strong, and we're always looking to obtain new clients and new business partners. So hopefully someone wants more information on that. Reach out to me by email, vince@epic.mortgage, or my cell phone, 708-359-8578. And we already said what states we're licensed in. So that goes across all 9 states.
Yeah, let me just say it one more time. Colorado, Texas. It was crazy. I was talking to a Floridian realtor this morning. She's like, "Oh, I got a new investor in Texas." I was like, "I'm licensed in Texas." She's like, "I didn't know you're licensed in Texas." Yes, we're licensed in Texas. So Colorado, Texas, Georgia, Florida, Virginia, Maryland, Michigan, Indiana, and Illinois. Those are the states that we're licensed in, that we can help you definitely get a deal done. So if you are a realtor out there, we're just looking for an opportunity. Let us show you what we can do, and definitely give us a shot. You can reach the corporate office, 708-905-5300. It's Vince at epic.mortgage, or you can reach me at Dante at epic.mortgage. Also, too, wanted to send a shout out. We had 2 closings this week on 2 new purchases. The Jackson family got their house. A crazy story on that. We've been clear to close for the longest time. The seller was in a divorce, and they were going back and forth, and it was all craziness. So we finally got that wrapped up. So congratulations to the Jackson family. They got little ones that they can now register for school. So that's super cool. And the Chablis family, been a great family for years, have worked for me probably since my days back in another company that you know me from. So yeah, it's probably been at least close to 10
I was going to
years.
say that's at least six or 7.
Yeah.
You've been running Epic for a little while now, so
a little bit. So yeah, so a crazy, just great family. They've been super great with me. I've helped out nephews. I've helped out uncles. The matriarch, let's just say the matriarch, Miss Chablis, has been great to me. So I appreciate her. So if you ever need your hair braided, definitely you can check her out. She's on the South Side, but yeah, she got an investment property. We helped her purchase a new investment property. She's big into, obviously being self-employed, running her business, but she has investment properties as she's building out that portfolio. So it was great to help her out, and on to the next. So what do we got tomorrow? Are you coming on tomorrow, or what are we doing?
I thought you were bringing on insurance people.
I got Laura Prey with Allstate Insurance is going to be with me tomorrow. I got Marissa Hazelwood. So are you calling off, and then I'll see you next Tuesday? What are we doing?
Am I allowed to take a substitute day and take a mulligan and play around on Tuesday and enjoy the holiday weekend? So that's what we're going to do. So yes. I'm going to pull out of tomorrow. I'm going to let you run with that. Okay. Everyone have a great holiday. Everyone, thanks again for listening. If you got questions, concerns, emails, phone numbers, we're always here. We'll be back on Tuesday, and maybe we'll talk about Thursday night football.
Man, Thursday night football. Man, I'm so disappointed. It's funny because I was like, oh man, it's so boring right now on TV. Right, there's just absolutely nothing.
Well, that's because you're a Sox fan. But
correct.
Other than that,
yeah, baseball's over. As soon as they were 18-40, I was like, oh, okay, no need to watch that.
Correct.
And then it was funny because on the radio they were like, "Oh man, the Sox are doing great. They won 3 in a row." And I looked at the record. It's like, yeah, they're 43-80. Like Jesus. But anyway, yeah, no sports are on right now. And then I looked at football and I was like, oh, okay. Last year they did a real good job for the opener. I thought the Eagles versus Packers were good.
They gave us 2 games, right?
Yeah, 2 games. Right? One was in Brazil.
West Coast, East Coast, just put football on all day long and we don't care, right? Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night.
But they give us the Cowboys versus the Eagles. I was like, does anybody care about that?
Well, yes. I mean, it's America's team, right?
Oh man, I thought the Patriots took that
Yeah.
mantle from them.
I,
But
I see that you don't follow college football because you somehow just kind of bypassed that one.
zoop. Only bowl games. Then I'll finally like, who is it? Is it Alabama, Clemson? Who is it this year? But no. Yeah, so no, we'll be back tomorrow. I have Laura Prey and Marissa Hazelwood on. We're going to talk some insurance, just some of the changes and new products that are out there. So it should be a good conversation. So check it out. So we'll be back tomorrow. Thanks everyone for listening, and have an epic day.
Everyone have a good afternoon. Thanks again. Talk to you,
Bye.
Tony. Take it easy. Bye.